11:01 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, October 21st Board of Control meeting. We have Nan Baker, Del Miller, Trevor Macular serving as an alternate for Dan Brady. Here. Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish. Lenore Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay. Review of the minutes. Can everyone take a look at them real quick? Any questions? No? Okay, I move for approval of the minutes from October 15th Board of Control meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? No? All those in? Is there a second? Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Councilman Miller.
Thank you.
So the Board of Control minutes are approved. Public comment.
There's no public comment at this time.
Okay. Let's start it off then.
And we have one tabled item number BC 2019-677, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Rimini Street, Inc. for maintenance and support services for the SAP Human Capital Management R3 system. And it's for the period November 6, 2012 through October 31st, 2019, to extend the time period to October 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $78,302.
Thank you, Janelle Green, Department of IT, presenting this again in relation to the support and maintenance for the Rimini Street services for support of the SAP. Again, the support and maintenance will be up for a period of 1 year, for October 31st of 2019 to October 30th of 2020. The contract is not to exceed $78,302. The vendor, after speaking during the course of the meeting last week, has stated that they would be willing to work with us on an upcoming renewal should we need it. But they are firm at this being a 1 year contract. So one of the advanced questions asked if they were willing to not increase their fees next year, and they did not state that they were not willing to increase next year.
Any questions?
So they did not agree that they would hold to the same fee level.
Correct.
But they did say, if I understand you correctly, that they would not require us to renew for a whole year.
Correct.
But they said they would be willing to work with us about how much time we need.
Correct. So we'll do periodic status checks with them just to let them know where we are on the project. So that way we can, if we need to extend the time for a period of 3 months or 6 months, we'll look at it at those kind of blocks to see if we need to renew further. But this contract going until October 30th of 2020 with the expected live date of April 1st gives us time to run the systems in parallel. So we'll be able to see what is going on with the ERP at that point. And
are we going to have that North Winds business at next week's meeting?
I would hope so. We did submit over the weekend, actually. We did submit over the packet of all the items that we did get. I believe they went out to Trevor and Joe Nani this weekend from all the documents that we got from Highland and Northwoods. So it's a pretty lengthy packet. So we did submit that over the weekend.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the next item.
Moving on to new items. Item number BC 2019-753, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a contract with Terrace Construction Company for the Bradford Road Relief Sewer and Pump Station Elimination Project in the city of Brecksville for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $268,446.06.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this item was city directed. When they got in to work on the pump station, they realized that the ground leading up to it is kind of wet and rough to get their trucks back through. So they inquired about putting in these timber mats so that they go under the ground so the trucks won't sink into the ground. So this is paid for 100% by their sewer district fees. So the city asked for it, they're paying for it, and it was just a change order to the contract.
Are there any questions? Okay, I move to approve. There's a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
BC 2019-754, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment, subsidiary number 3, to a contract with Katz Construction, Inc. for resurfacing of Pleasant Valley Road from State Road to Broadview Road in the city of Parma for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $25,432.37, recommending to accept construction as complete and in accordance with plans and specifications, requesting authority for the county treasurer to release the escrow account in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 153.63.
Nicole English again with Public Works. So this is a final on this construction job, so all quantities were adjusted based on field conditions. There was one other thing, that a joint sealer was added that was left off the plans, so that was put into this final amendment as well. We're still 11% under the engineer's estimate, and this is 80% federal and 20% issue 1. So we still have plenty of other funding to pay for it.
Are there any questions? Okay, if not, I move to approve. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Next item, BC 2019-755, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a contract with Hannah Holdings, Inc. for property management services for the Samuel R. Gerber Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Building and Parking Garage, located at 11001 Cedar Avenue in the city of Cleveland, and it's for the period November 1st, 2013 through October 31st, 2019, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $10,000.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is a short-term amendment with our current provider, Hannah CRE, for the property management services at the Medical Examiner Building. We have conducted a full formal RFP, and the results of that will be coming to council. This amendment will allow us to continue services through the end of the year and give us time to present to council and have period of performance for the new contract starting at the beginning of the year.
Are there any questions? If not, I move to approve. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-756, Department of Development, recommending an award on requisition 45924 and to enter into an agreement with the City of Euclid in the amount not to exceed $110,000 for consolidated plan consulting services for development of a Cuyahoga Housing Consortium 5-year consolidated plan, and it's for the period October 21st, 2019 through August 15th, 2020.
Good morning. Paul Hertig with the Department of Development. This agreement will provide federal funds from the Federal Home Investments Partnerships Program. The funds will go to the City of Euclid, which is one of the 5 members of our Cuyahoga Housing Consortium. Our consortium is the group that actually receives and administers the federal home program funds. The members of that consortium are the cities of Euclid, Cleveland Heights, Lakewood, Parma, and Cuyahoga County itself, which is on behalf of 51 smaller communities. So in essence, this covers all of the county except for the cities of Cleveland and East Cleveland. The work that's going to be done is preparation of a 5-year strategic plan. This is required by federal regulations. It covers both the Home Investments Partnerships Program, which is a housing program, and the use of community development block grant funds for the next 5 years. This is a mandatory plan. There is extensive work that's required for data analysis, data collection. It has to be written up in a certain way, and that's why a consultant is necessary. This is beyond the capacity of staff, either here at the county or at our partner cities. As the administrator of the home program, it's our job to initially receive the money. That is why we must contract with the City of Euclid. But the City of Euclid, in this particular case, is the body that did the RFP to select the consultant who will work with the whole group over the next period of time.
Okay, are there any questions? No? If not, do I hear, I move to approve. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved. Thanks, Paul. Next item?
Next item, MVC 2019-757, Department of Workforce Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with United Labor Agency Incorporated for operation of the Workforce Service Center, Job Seekers and Employer Services and management of the on-the-job training program, and is for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, to expand the scope of services for the provision of 1 opioid project coordinator and 2 opioid community development specialists, to provide workforce services in connection with the State Opioid Response and Disaster Recovery National Dislocated Worker Grant Programs, effective October 21st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $214,500.
Good morning, Frank Bruckner from the Department of Workforce Development. The state of Ohio applied for and received a grant specific to providing workforce services to help individuals with substance use disorder opioid. They were awarded the funds. Cuyahoga County's share of those dollars are $640,000. One of the authorized uses of those dollars is to provide career-related services in residential facilities or sober housing facilities or other places that are impacted by the opioid epidemic. So we are hiring a team through United Labor Agency to provide services on site. Some of the sites so far include Whitehaven, Stella Maris, Community Assessment and Treatment Services, Edna House, and there will be additional ones. We also met with Metro Health about a handoff as people are being released also.
Okay, are there any questions on this item, Councilwoman?
So I'm curious to know how you coordinate with all the other entities out there that are also working with those that are in need of services for opiate addictions, like the Adams Board and the law settlement that's coming in that could be a great deal of money. How do we not work in silos and actually work together for all the different pieces and parts that seem to be coming to the county relatively soon?
Very good question. One of the requirements under this contract is we had to put a plan in place to the state to show that we were working in partnership with the Adams Board. We had 2 meetings with the Adams Board to identify what were the best uses of the dollars and what organizations. They identified additional uses and those organizations that we should be at on site. So some of these, like Stella Maris, Edna House, were ones that the Adams Board identified. While we are at, for example, Metro Health, we are part of a team as people are being released. So we are participating in those team meetings also.
That's really good to know. Is there anything on a strategic plan that's written that, as you did in securing these dollars and working with the Adams Board and Metro, do we have a big picture strategic plan that you're aware of that does exactly what you did and all the different pieces and parts of funding coming in?
We would be happy to share our plan with you, but these were one-time monies right now.
Right.
I hope they continue if we're successful in making some impact, you know, but I do agree there needs to be collaboration, but this was at least our first step to get our foot into the door at these organizations, but I'm not aware of a big strategic plan.
I appreciate you doing what you're doing and that you are working with those Adams Board and Metro and whoever else you need to, so you're not working in a silo. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Thank you. The item's approved. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2019-758, Department of Workforce Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with Towards Employment, Inc. for job seeker services for applicants with felony backgrounds in connection with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and it's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021, to expand the scope of services to implement a transitional jobs/work experience pilot program for up to 15 opioid-impacted eligible participants in connection with the Disaster Recovery National Dislocated Worker Grant Program, effective October 21st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $91,928.
Frank Bruckner, Workforce Development. This is another allowable use of the grant dollars. As individuals are reentry, they've been convicted of some opioid-related offense, and as they're released, we can provide work experience, so it's no cost to the employer, where we can pay the wages for a period of time, which will be typically 3 months, as an individual gets a work history, some type of experience, with the hope that the employer will employ the person full-time.
Okay, are there any questions? Councilwoman?
So again, are there any other services out there that are similar to this that you're working with, or are you a first-time thought of working with those that are looking for employment after they're released?
There are some incentives that the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act can do, like transitional jobs, work experience, but this is our real first focus, I will say, on the opioid-impacted individual for this service.
Does the Adams Board or any other organization also work with the opioid, getting people back to work? And is there, I mean, are you a one and done, or are there other organizations out there doing the same thing?
Our Workforce Development Board approved a policy 3 months ago to allow this specific service.
Okay.
And I think with reentry folks in mind, not just opioid, but I think we did get a little additional federal dollars.
Okay.
So I anticipate if this is successful, we may do more of this.
And the organizations like Toward Employment, are they part of your?
Yes.
Or,
They did
scope?
apply for our RFP to specifically focus on reentry individuals.
Okay, good, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other? Okay. If not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Thank you. That'd be second by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Next item. Thanks, Frank.
Moving on to BC 2019-759. This is a two-part item. Department of Workforce Development, A, submitting RP exemption on requisition 46994, which will result in an award recommendation to the Edna House for Women, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $40,494.73 for disaster relief employment services in connection with the Disaster Recovery National Dislocated Worker Grant Program, and it's for the period October 21st, 2019 through October 21st, 2020. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Frank Bruckner, Workforce. This is a specific service authorized by the Disaster Relief Grant, where we can pay the wages and fringe benefits up to 51 weeks for an eligible individual. There are strings attached. You know, the individual has to be WEO eligible, meaning that they're unemployed or underemployed, and it has to be at a facility that is impacted by the opioid epidemic, so a residential treatment facility, a sober living facility, and it has to be a new position to help combat the opioid epidemic. Edna House for Women is a sober living facility for women. They've been stressed with the opioid epidemic, and they came to us at the Adams Board. The Adams Board recommended we touch base with them and said we could use another person to help with intake, coordination, employment services. The hope would be that when the funding runs out, that they will continue to employ the individual.
Okay, are there any questions? Councilman?
What was the procurement process on this? Was there any attempt to see if there's others who might be interested and to make a competitive selection, or was there not anything like that?
Well, this is a specific service authorized by the grant. I'm thinking in the next few weeks you're going to see a few more of these, because we have marketed this program to other agencies that have been impacted by the opioid epidemic, but this happens to be the first who's been able to identify a WEOA eligible candidate, but we would anticipate there will be several more, but it's a specific federal authorized service under this grant. And we did follow what the Adams Board said. These are organizations you may want to talk to.
This item and the previous two items comprise about $350,000. And I think you said the total was $640,000. So how are we planning on spending the remainder of the money?
There will be additional disaster relief employment, we believe, for a few more agencies. And there is another incentive out there to help train additional individuals to combat the opioid epidemic. So we have heard loud and clear that there's a need for more peer support specialists. So I believe you will see a contract recommendation coming up in the next few weeks to train, recruit additional peer support specialists.
And when you train people to combat the opiate epidemic, what does the training consist of?
There is actually, to become a peer support specialist, I hope I don't butcher this, but there's state mandated training and certification you have to go through. I think there's a specific criteria, and then you have to do testing, and then they can become a peer support specialist. What we've heard from the Adams Board is that there aren't enough peer support specialists throughout the system. There's a need for more, and that's the person who serves as a mentor to an individual to help them, because they've had the same life experiences to help them be successful.
Okay. Any other questions? Sure. Councilman Baker.
So just trying to connect the dots a little bit, the Adams Board suggested in the HHS levy that they are in need of specific housing. I think they call it RAC.
Okay.
I got those acronyms right. So is there any, is this in like a part of that, what that could be, given we're talking about the Edna House as a place where this could be used?
As there are additional recovery houses, we can send our contracted providers to provide career services. So, for example, that first item, United Labor Agency, they can go in and help work with individuals there to provide career services. You know, there could be a need as more recovery houses come up and they hire an additional, they say, hey, we need to hire an additional person to help combat this. It's possible there could be a disaster-related employment position approved.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if no more questions, I move to approve. There's a second. Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2019-760, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 46977, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount not to exceed $304,768.02 for the purchase of 610 Microsoft Office subscription licenses for use by the Juvenile Court Division. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, board members. Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This award is via the enterprise agreement that we have with Microsoft via Dell itself. This is for use as it was read for juvenile court to upgrade them to the Microsoft Office suite. It's 365 to bring them up on the features of 365, primarily Outlook and Azure security features.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? Councilman Miller?
So do these licenses allow the employees to use the office suite? Is that the purpose of it?
Yes, this will bring them up to what you're using right now.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
Next item, BC 2019-761, Department of Information Technology, recommending an award on requisition 46799 to Ornet, the Ohio State University, in the amount not to exceed $96,269.73 for upgrades, support, and maintenance on VM software subscriptions. And it's for the period January 1st, 2020 through February 12th, 2021.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. We need to make one mechanical correction on what Andrea just read. The beginning date is going to be 12/19/2019. This is RFP exemption for government-to-government purchase. This award will be for VMware licenses, software that has been used a number of times. We bought through Ornet at a greatly reduced price.
Okay, are there any questions? Councilman Miller.
I actually have one more on the previous item. How long are the licenses good for?
They're good. They match up until the end of the agreement, which goes to 6/30/2020.
So, once we get past 6/30/2020, we'd have to buy these same licenses again?
That would be true for the whole county. The whole county would have to negotiate another agreement or an RFP, whatever's going to happen.
Seems like a lot of money. It's like $500 a piece. Well.
Okay, is there any further questions on that last item or anyone on this one? Councilman Baker?
On the last item, the 761, this is only for 1 year. Is there a reason why it was just contracted for 1 year?
It goes out, Nana, goes from 12/19/19 to 2/12/21.
Okay, so all of 20 and a couple of months in 21.
And a little bit at the end of December of this year, 19, yes.
Still, it seems odd. Is there, and even the dates seem odd. Is there a reason for that, or?
I did not purchase this one, but no. There's nothing in the write-up specific to the dates or the quote, so
That
I'd have to
seem
get back to you on that.
All right. Does that seem unusual for upgrade, support, and maintenance?
The only thing I can think of is that they're lining up with
Other contracts?
something with Ohio State's contract is what I'm thinking, but I
Let us
don't know
know.
that for a fact.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
As amended. Next item, BC 2019-762, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Hawk Search, Inc. for web search tool services, and it's for the period November 27th, 2017 through December 4th, 2019, to extend the time period to December 4th, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $32,400.
This amendment is for another 2 years. The Hawk search platform has worked out extremely well for the end user experience, being the public. For this is a search tool that works on top of our web platform, which is called Sitefinity.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? Councilman Baker?
So this is, there's no increase?
No increase. It was 32.4 last time, last 2-year agreement.
Yeah, for another 2 years.
Correct. Amending.
Amended.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
Next item is a two-part item, item number BC 2019-763, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 46953, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount not to exceed $10,285.48 for the purchase of 4 Microsoft SQL Server Standard Core licenses for use by the Office of the Medical Examiner. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
This award is being bought again off the Dell Enterprise Agreement via Microsoft, via Dell. This is for their Justice Trek server upgrade. Presently, Justice Tracks and Verticue, the trace evidence application tracking systems, are sharing the same server. This upgrade, this is the server license for the upgrade to split it off. Justice Tracks is going to be on its own hardware box.
Are there any questions on this item? If not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Next item, BC 2019-764, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with J.C. Penney Corporation, Inc. for emergency clothing assistance services. And it's for the period May 1st, 2019 through April 30th, 2020, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
Good morning, Chris Alexander, Department of Health and Human Services, on behalf of the Division of Children and Family Services. This is a new contract with JCPenney. It began in May of this year. The original amount that was allocated for this was $475,000. The advanced question indicated, why are we adding new dollars? The expenditures have far exceeded what we anticipated. Two things happened during the course of the year, especially for emergency services. Because they're 79% federal dollars, they often come at different times of the year, so we can't fully fund the contract necessarily on day one. We want to make sure that we can fund it based on our current allocation at the time. The other thing is we've had about 200 additional children come into care since the beginning of this contract in May. Again, terribly costly item. Any child coming into care, whether it's for foster parent, residential, we do provide initial clothing allotment for those children. During the winter months, those are usually the highest utilization of expenditures for emergency clothing, and also back to school. In September, we tend to peak with our expenditures on that as well.
Questions on this item? Okay, if not, I approve the item. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Next item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2019-765, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 46524, which will result in an award recommendation to Passages Connecting Fathers and Sons, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $90,500 for specialized programming for non-support offenders. And it's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi, I'm Linda Lagoonzad, Assistant Administrator with the Corrections Planning Board. The Common Pleas Court, its General Division and Domestic Relations Divisions, and the Corrections Planning Board are requesting authority to apply Ohio Community Corrections Act grant funds for Passages Connection Fathers and Sons, Inc. to assist the Adult Probation Department's specialized non-support program in providing an effective additional option in the continuum of sanctions for offenders under supervision for felony non-support, not providing child support. This is a 2-year contract. It's important to implement this program as a form of sanction for individuals with non-support offenses because it decreases prison commitments for technical violations and avoids interruption in offender employment and subsequent ability to pay child support. Passages is an educational program that strengthens fathers' understanding of their parental responsibilities and increases their likelihood of compliance with child support orders. Passages conducts sessions using the Fatherhood Development Curriculum. Parenting issues are addressed as part of the program content. The approach uses small groups and master-trained certified program facilitators. It also provides clients with one-on-one case management services from a dedicated program case manager.
Okay. Are there any questions on this item? Councilman Miller?
So we're talking about people who are not paying their child support.
Correct.
And is this program basically an alternative to incarceration that we tell them you can go through this program, and if through going through this program you get on track, and then you don't have to go to jail? Is that Is that basically how it works?
Yes, but they're obviously under supervision by the Adult Probation Department for their compliance with this program. And if they do not comply, then there's other alternatives, possibly placing them back into prison. So,
And the people who are placed in this program, are they usually in prison and they're released from prison in order to participate in this program, or do they get diverted into this program before they get to prison?
I believe it's both, because I was talking with the Passages program, and they say sometimes, although there's this many individuals referred to the program, some cannot start the program yet because due to Adult Probation Department's decision to work with the court and get them, they have to go into prison. So they come out of their incarceration and then come out and then go into the program. Otherwise, they can just come straight into the program without going to be incarcerated.
But some do go straight into the program.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Councilwoman Baker?
So unfortunately, as you explained why it's late, were services given during the time that you're here today?
No.
No, so no services, no payments?
Correct. No payments have been made.
Okay, and so you'll begin this program. Is this a new program?
No, they've been providing the services in the past, so it's not a new program.
So that unfortunately, the services then had to stop, and then there's been a 3 or 4 month gap, and now you're going to pick them up again.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further questions, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to exemptions, item number BC 2019-766, Sheriff's Department requesting approval to amend board approval number BC 2019-564, dated July 29, 2019, which approved an alternate procurement process and resulted in award recommendations to various providers payable by department orders in the total amount not to exceed $150,000 for various equipment repairs in the jail facilities for the period July 29, 2019 through December 31st, 2020, and this exemption will allow the payment by purchase order.
Stephen Witt with the Sheriff's Department. As mentioned, this is amending a previously approved alternate procurement which established the listed limits with the 6 vendors for jail equipment repair. And as previously stated, these equipment repairs are done on as needed to maintain jail operations, such as washers, dryers go down, and they need to get them fixed in order to continue to clean clothes. Kitchen equipment goes down, they need to get it repaired, and so there's no time to go through a normal procurement process. All this request is to do is to establish not to exceed purchase orders for each of these 6 vendors, which will enable us to keep better track of how much is spent and allow quicker payment to these vendors.
Are there any questions on the item? Okay, if not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by
Trevor
Trevor.
McAleer.
Trevor, thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We're moving on now to the consent agenda, item numbers BC 2019-767 through 769.
You guys take a minute to look through them. Are there any questions, or do you need another minute? Okay, I motion to approve the consent agenda items. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda items are approved.
Okay, we are now moving on to other business. We have one mission critical item from the Medical Examiner's Office recommending an award on requisition 47104 to Thermal Electron North America LLC in the amount not to exceed $10,045.44 for the repair of one Thermal Electron FTIR Transform Infrared Microscope. And the funding source is the Medical Examiner's Crime Lab Fund.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. So this is an infrared spectrometer in the drug chemistry laboratory that is not functioning properly. Based on the symptoms that were told to to Thermo, there are a number of possible problems. And so there's a range that they gave us. The 10,000 is the upper range. I think the lower range is about half that.
Okay, first off, I motion to amend today's agenda to consider this item. Do I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda is amended. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes.
Councilman Miller.
How long have we had this piece of equipment?
I have to get the exact inception date, but it's at least 10 years old.
So it's no longer under warranty?
Correct.
Yep. And how much would it cost to buy a new one?
I'll have to find out. I know it's more expensive than what we were talking about last week, the gas chromatograph. So it'll be somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000.
And what's the typical useful lifetime of this piece?
I believe it's been exceeded at this point. We'll do an assessment once it's repaired and find out if it's something that we need to plan to replace.
And is it still reasonably up to date, or is it obsolete
Yeah, so again, with the type of work that's done in drug chemistry, the older equipment is still useful because we're not looking for, like in toxicology, where the molecules are much smaller once they start breaking down, especially in the newer novel synthetic opioids. It's still useful technology and equipment. But again, we'll have to do an assessment and see if this is something that we need to place on a plan to replace.
Okay, any further questions? If not, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Trevor. All those in favor indicated by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Public comment?
No, we have no public comment at this time and no further business.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.